So we're gonna learn about law of cosines today, but first we're gonna review law of sines. Okay, so looking at this triangle, we're trying to find angle C. Okay, what is angle C? And we're also trying to find side length CB. Okay, keep that in mind. So before we actually solve that problem, let's review a little bit. The formula for law of sines is going to be, let me get a different pen. Is going to be sine A over little a, okay, equals sine B over little b equals sine C over little c. Okay, now let's review. We have a triangle. Okay, we have A, B, C. A, B, C equals the angle measures. All right. The side corresponding to angle A is little a, which is across. Okay, angle C, the side that corresponds with is across, which is little c. And for big B is little b. Okay, A, B, C, lowercase, are going to be the side measures. All right. So with this review problem, we are solving CB, okay, and angle C. So to start, we're going to do what we know. So we have 99 degrees, okay, and we also have its side length measure, which is across from it, given to us. So we're going to use that. So we're going to do sine 99 degrees, okay, over 12 equals, now we're looking for CB, okay? The angle across from it is 43 degrees, so we can set up a formula for that. So equals sine 43 degrees over x, okay? Now we're going to cross multiply. So on the left side, I will get x sine 99 degrees equals 12 sine 43 degrees. All right. We're solving for x, so we're going to get x by itself. When I get x by itself, I'm going to divide sine 99 degrees, sine 99 degrees, okay? Because remember, we're getting x by itself. X equals, now, this is when we use our calculator. Make sure your calculator is in, let's see, degrees mode, okay? To get to it, you just hit mode, okay? Make sure it's in degrees. So let's put it in. So we have 12 sine 43, okay, divided by sine 99 degrees. And you should get 8.285 meters, okay? But we're rounding to the nearest tenth, so you're going to get 8.3. You see, nearest tenth, 8 rounds that 2 up to a 3. And so x is 8.3 meters, okay? So with that little review out the way, we're going to introduce the next topic. So let's see. We're going to start with notes 1, okay? And this is law of cosines. So how do I solve oblique triangles without using the law of sines? Well, there's another law, which is law of cosines. Law of cosines only deals with side angle side or side side side. Side angle side is when you have two sides in an angle, and then side side sides, 3 sides, okay? So let's review the formula. So law of cosines can be used to find a side and angle measures given 2 sides and the included angle, okay, or 3 sides. So to review, we're going to do a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cosine a. Okay? The little a's, the little b's, the little c's, they're all side lengths. The big A is an angle measure, okay? So let's write that up here to still remember. Okay? Now, you can manipulate this formula. So when we manipulate it, we can get b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac minus times cosine b, big B. Okay? So there's kind of like a pattern. If you look, if you're solving for a side length, which is a, you're going to get b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cosine a. Well, if you're doing b squared, you get a squared plus c squared minus 2ac. You see how you multiply that right here? Same with this one, b and c, you multiply right here. I'll show you a different one. We can do c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times cosine c. So let's look a little bit further. If we're solving for a side length a, okay, well, we know that we put a big A right here. Okay, same for B. If we're solving for B, remember that there's a big B on the end. And then for C, there's a big C on the end. Now, if you're solving for A, you're going to get B squared plus C squared. Well, you can see how B times C is right here. Same for this one, A squared plus C squared. Well, AC is right here. And then A squared plus B squared, AB right here. So there's kind of like a pattern if you want to memorize it. It really just depends on what you're solving for. So with that being said, we're going to jump right in and we're going to find sides first. Okay? So putting this out the way. When we're solving sides, it's going to be side, side, side. So you're just giving all sides. Okay? And then if you're finding angles, you're going to be when you're given angles, you'll do side, 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 and then finding sides, it'll be side, angle, side. Okay? So let's jump in with number 1. And let me put number 1 right here. Okay, so we're going to find each side length. So we have 16 inches, 12 inches, and 127 degrees, and we're trying to find x. Okay? So I'm going to do that on a new sheet of paper. And I'm going to redraw it. Okay, we have A, B, C, 16, 28, X, and 127 degrees. Okay, now 28 corresponds with angle A. Okay, so we know this is going to be little a. Okay, 16 corresponds with angle C, which is little c. And then 127 degrees corresponds with X, which is little b. So we're solving for B, okay? And remember in our notes, when we're solving for a side length B, we're going to use B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times cosine B, okay? So let's set it up. So let's write the formula down again. B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times cosine B. Okay, so solving for b squared, so we can just rewrite that like that. So my a squared is going to be 28 squared plus c, which is 16, minus 2. My a is 28. My b is 16 times cosine 127 degrees. And it's because the angle corresponds with it is 127, big B, 127, right here. Okay, let's plug it in the calculator. So we're going to do 28 squared plus 16 squared minus 2, 28 times 16 times, and make sure your mode is in degrees, which it should be already since we went over one of the problems, times cosine 127 degrees. You should get a big number, 1,579, okay? Keep that in the calculator because we do not want to lose this big number, okay? So b squared equals that number, right? Well, to get the squared out the way, we're going to have to square it. Square whatever that answer was, right? So we're going to square this number, square root it. So when we do that, we're going to do second answer, second answer, so you can get it in the calculator, enter, and that side length B should be 39.7 inches. Is it? Yeah. So 39.7 inches. Give you a second to copy that down. Okay, so let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is stating, here, let's see if we can get it to focus. We have 12 miles, 25 miles, and 36 degrees. We're solving x, okay? So I'm going to redraw this. Okay, so we have 12 miles, x, 25 miles, 36 degrees, okay? This always helps me if I label it A, B, C, okay? My little a is right here, my little c is right here, and my little b is right here, okay? That always helps when you're looking at the formula so you know what to plug in. So if we're finding little a, the formula we're going to use is going to be a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cosine a, okay? So let's write that formula out. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cosine a. Let's fill in what we know. Well, we know we're solving for a, so we could just bring that down, right? B is 25. We're going to square it plus c, which is 12. Minus 2, my b is 25. Times 12 times cosine 36. Okay? Cosine 36 because we're looking for cosine A. Right? And so we know cosine A right here. So let's plug it in the calculator. Clear it out. So we're going to do 25 squared plus 12 squared minus 2, 25, 12 times cosine 36, okay? And you should get 283.589 and some numbers. Keep this in the calculator, okay? Because we have to find a. A squared equals blank. To get rid of this square, we're going to square root it on both sides. When we square root it, we should get 16.8 miles, okay? So A equals 16.8 miles, okay? Give you a second to copy this down. So just to review that problem, we were solving for little a, and that's how we know that, because what helps me is a, b, c. We're looking for x, we know little a corresponds to big A, okay? That's how I knew how to use that formula. So give you a second to copy that down. Okay, now let's move on to number 3. Number 3, it says in triangle ABC, angle C is 88 degrees. AC is 22 feet and BC is 11.5 feet. Find AB. Okay? So I'm just going to draw it right here to keep it simple. We're going to draw triangle ABC. Triangle ABC. Angle C is 88 degrees, right? Side AC is 22. So we got 22. BC is 11.5. And we're finding AB. Okay? So in this situation, we're finding AB. But the angle that corresponds with it is big C. So you know X would be little c. Okay? 11.5 is going to be little a because it corresponds to big A, and 22 equals little b because it corresponds with big B. Okay? So we're solving for little c. Let's use the formula c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times cosine big C. Okay? So we're going to do c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times cosine big C. Solving for c squared, so just bring it down. Our little a is going to be 11.5 squared plus b. Little b is 22 squared minus 2. Little a is 11.5. Little b is 22. And then cosine 88. Okay, sorry my handwriting's getting small. Okay, let's plug it in. 11.5 squared plus 22 squared minus 2. 11.5 times 22 times cosine 88. Which you should get the number 598.59 and some numbers. Remember, we're solving for c, so we're going to have to square root it. So when we square root this number, we should get 24.5. Feet, because that's the units they're using. Okay? Give you a second to copy that down. Okay, so that was all with finding sides, okay? When we're finding sides, it deals with side, angle, side, angle, side, and side, angle, side, okay? So when you're finding that, it's easy, plug it in, make sure you label ABC, correspond the side links, okay? And then whatever you're solving for, use that formula. So it all just depends, okay? So now we're going to find angles. When we're finding angles, we're dealing with side, side, side. Okay? 3 sides. And so we're going to find each angle measure. Okay? So this is a multi-step process, but once you get the hang of it, it's easy to catch on. Okay? So we're going to do this problem right here. Find each angle measure. Round answers to the nearest tenth. So we have 10, 13, 11. We're finding x and eventually the rest of them, but first we're going to find angle x. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite that so I have enough room. And if you have any questions, feel free to email or ask. So let's do this. So 10, 13, 11, x. Okay, do not forget to label A, B, C. Big A corresponds to 13, which is little a. Big C corresponds to 10, which is little c. And big B corresponds to 11, which is little b. And make sure that focuses in. There we go. Okay, so we're finding big C, right? We're finding big C. Let's look at the formulas, what we have. If you're finding big C, the only one we can use is c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times cosine c. Okay? So let's use that formula. I'm going to write it down right here. C squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times cosine c. Right? So let's plug in what we know. So little c is going to be 10. So 10 squared equals a squared, which is 13, plus b, which is 11, minus 2, 13 times 11. Remember, ab is right here, so I already know that these two were all going to be there, times cosine c. We're solving for c, big C. So let's go ahead and solve this. So we know this is 100 equals 169 plus 121 minus 286 times cosine c. Okay. This is 286 is what you get when you multiply all these together. Okay, let's go ahead and add these two numbers up. So you get 290 minus 286 cosine c. Now we're finding c, big C, but there's multiple steps before we get to big C. So before we get there, we're going to have to subtract 290. 100 minus 290 is negative 190 equals negative 286 cosine c. Okay, getting c by itself still, we're going to have to divide negative 286 on both sides. Okay. When we get that, we get a number, a small number. So negative 190 divided by negative 286, which is 0.6643 in some numbers, right? We'll keep it like that, okay? And to help you better visualize, I'm going to write it down right here. To get cosine c and to get c by itself, we want c by itself, we're going to do inverse. So we're going to do inverse of cosine, okay, to get a degree measure, okay? So we're going to do second cosine, second answer, and you get 48.368 degrees. But we're rounding, so it's going to be 48.4 degrees, okay? That's for angle C. We're solving for the rest of the angles, so let's move on to the next angle, okay? To solve that, well, let's go ahead and just fill out what we, right here, 48.4, right? Now we're solving for angle, let's say angle A. Let's solve for this one. So same thing goes, flip into the back. Well, here, I'll give you a few minutes to copy this real quick. Okay, let's solve for angle A. When we solve for angle A, the formula that corresponds with it is going to be the first one because that's the only one that deals with cosine A, okay? So, we'll just flip to it right here. So we have the formula A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cosine a. We're solving for a. So our a squared is going to be 13 squared equals 11 squared plus 10 squared minus 2, 11, 10 cosine a. So we get 169 equals 121 plus 100 minus 220 cosine a. Okay, let's add these up. Equals 221 minus 220 cosine a. And we're going to subtract 221 to this side. Okay, and we get negative 52 equals negative 220 cosine a. Okay, we're going to get cosine a by itself. So we're going to divide negative 220. When we do that, you get a small number. You get negative 52 divided by negative 222, 0.236 and some numbers, right? We'll keep that. To get this, we're going to do inverse of cosine. So let's do second cosine, second answer, and you get a equals 76.3 degrees, right? Okay. The only angle we're missing, the angle that we're missing is B. Remember, a triangle is always 180 degrees. All the angles add up to it. So since we know two of these angles, we're going to add them up and subtract it from 180. So let's do 48.4 plus 76.3. Once we get that number, we're going to do 180 minus that, which is 55.3 degrees. So angle B is 55.3 degrees. And we solved all those angle measures. Okay? So a little recap of law of cosines is basically you can solve any triangle using law of cosines, okay? But in this case, we're going to stick with oblique triangle just because we learned about oblique triangles last week. Law of cosines and law of sines are different in their formulas. Remember, law of sines deals with angle, angle, side, or angle, side, angle, or side, side, angle, okay? Law of cosines deals with side, angle, side, or side, side, side. Now, with law of sines, you have ambiguous cases where you have to solve for multiple angle measures. But with law of cosines, you deal with this formula, and then you find the angle measures or the side lengths, okay? Another thing I like to say is always draw this triangle out, okay? We have AB, ABC, or ABC. It doesn't really matter. Like if I draw it like this, just remember that little A, little C, and little B. Opposite, okay? Another thing I would like to say is when you're solving for an angle, always do inverse cosine, okay? When you're solving for a side length, don't forget to square root it at the end. That's about it because I'm running out of time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Next, we will be learning about applications with law of cosine, okay, in different ways to use it in different scenarios. But I hope this video suits you well. Bye-bye.